Welcome one and all to the Cinegeeks podcast, where movies, TV, and all things geek collide. I'm Angela, still joined by my co-host, Roy.
Hey everyone, how's everybody doing?
Yeah.
How are you doing, Ange?
We're back.
Yes.
We're doing a twice a week episode again.
Yes, we're starting this thing out again.
And of course, for today's episode, we'll be talking about 2 Filipino films out now in cinemas and on Netflix.
Yep.
First being Unhappy for You, directed by Peterson Vargas, written by Kukay Labayan, Crystal San Miguel, Jen Chua Unsu, and Simon Lloyd Arsiaga or Simon Lloyd Arsiaga, starring Julia Barreto and Joshua Garcia. And the second movie, Lolo and the Kid, written and directed by Benedict Mique, starring Joel Torre, Ewan Micael, and Juan Carlos Labajo.
Yes, but before we continue, we'd like to remind everyone who hasn't done so to follow our pod wherever you listen to podcasts like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube.
And of course, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook Threads, Letterboxd, and X, aka Twitter, so you can join in on the fun. Also, visit our website, www.cinegeekspod.com, for the latest in movie and TV news and reviews.
Send us your questions, suggestions, feedback, and violent reactions to our email address, cinegeekspod@gmail.com. We'll read your email on the air. And by the way, please join us on our Facebook group called Cinegeeks PHHQ. There you can interact with us and your fellow Cinegeeks as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the first movie for this episode, Lolo and the Kid. A hustler and the child he took in routinely con the wealthy, but a life-changing opportunity could end their inseparable bond. So, this is a new entry in the long line of Netflix original films na Filipino ang flavor.
Yes.
Yes. So, nakakatuwang makita na Netflix is supporting local filmmaking.
Yes.
By giving our local filmmakers another platform, kumbaga, to showcase their wares na hindi lang puro cinema release.
And international Netflix IPs.
At saka din, speaking of that, na yung exposure is international as well.
True.
As well, yes. So, wag na natin patagalin pa. Ange, what did you think of Lolo and the Kid?
Ako, first and foremost, the 2 lead characters portrayed by Joel Torre and Ewan Micael, yung mga actors, I have a very special spot for them. Kasi, of course, everybody loves Joel Torre.
Yes.
In anything he does, he really shines. He elevates everything he's in. Mapa-movie yan, mapa-teleserye, mapa-everything. Basta nandiyan si Joel Torre, maganda yan. Or at least, maganda niyang magagampanan yung character.
Yung role na binigay sa kanya.
Yes, mabibigyan niya ng justice. Si Ewan Micael, siya ang best child actor.
Child performer.
Best child performer ng MMFF4, Firefly.
Last December.
Yes. So, I know that this kid has... He's got it. He's got the acting chops.
Yes,
and it's very interesting to me how these 2 dramatic actors will play off each other. Kaya, I know na based on the trailer na this is gonna be a tearjerker. I just wasn't expecting it to be that hard-hitting. Na sobrang naging emotional ako. I mean, it had its very familiar beats. Yung, alam mo yung kuhang-kuha yung kiliti ng mga tearjerker films like Miracle in Cell No. 7, yung parang relationship between a parent figure and the child, yung ganon. Parang it's always gonna be very emotional, very heart-tugging. And ito, nandun na yung mga familiar tropes niya. And medyo na-subvert siya sa dulo. I do not want to spoil it. Pero, yeah, I was bawling. I was inconsolable by the end of the film. Ikaw.
Same, actually. Yung dun sa sinabi mong sinubvert niya yung parang formula, it starts out parang sobrang predictable, kumbaga, na okay, Lolo and the Kid, premise is basically the title itself. So, like, for the first, I'd say, 3/4, or siguro 2/3, first 2/3 ng scene, we basically hang out with them. And parang dun sa simula nung film na to, puro parang hangout na mga shots, mga scenes. Punta sila ng Star City, tapos video ko sila,
Quiapo.
Tapos Quiapo, yung kung anong hangout nilang dalawang maglolo. And then, I found myself parang thinking na this is going on for far too long. Yung ganong parang puro hangout na A, may kwento ba tayong susundan? And B, dun sa simula, there was this parang air of parang nag-i-improve sila.
Yeah, medyo
Doon.
I was taken aback by that a little bit as well.
Kasi alam mong, kita mo kapag umaarte yung artista eh. I mean, kahit sabi natin American, Western, Filipino, may tell sila na kapag may script sila, alam mong, may makikita ka na parang yung game face sila eh. Kasi parang nasa headspace sila nung kanilang pinoportray. Tapos, they're reciting memorized lines.
Okay.
So, for like the first, 2/3 of the film, it felt like everything was off the cuff. Yan. And, siguro sinabi ko sa'yo din nung pinapanood natin to na, parang siyang, pakiramdam na, yung parang Batang Quiapo. Yung sinasabi nilang, for better or worse, yung pinagmamalaki nila na, wala kaming script dito. Lahat.
Parang Brillante Mendoza style.
Parang, I guess. Yan, ganun. Oo. You could say that. And then, midway to, or again, after the 2/3 point of this film, suddenly, something changes in the story.
Okay.
And then, biglang, nag-go siya into 6th gear. Parang ganun nga yung pakiramdam na, parang biglang, yung ganung lahat nun, yung lahat nung mga parang sobrang hangout moments.
Mga light and breezy
mga
sequences.
To the point na parang, wait, are we still watching a movie? Biglang na-recontextualize siya doon from that moment forward. Na biglang, okay, what was starting out to become a weakness of the film for me ends up making the last third of this film even more richer than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
Yan.
Okay. I completely get what you say about that quote-unquote weakness. Kasi sinabi naman doon sa logline na they are con artists, di ba? And pinakita na kung ano yung MO nila. Yung parang kung ano yung con nila. And for the first 2 times they did it, parang we already got it. We already got what they're doing to para makuha yung gusto nila, para ma-achieve nila yung yung con nila and makuha nila yung prize na ina-achieve nila makuha. Pero yun nga, parang I completely agree with you na it took too long, it took too many of those instances to the point na parang when are things gonna get good? Or when are things gonna change? Parang ganon.
Yes. At saka mapansin ko lang din, kasi this movie is about an hour and 40 minutes long. Merong sinasabi tayo lagi na in any kind of story, merong rule of thirds. Diba? Yung first is the introduction of the joke. Second is the joke in its entirety. And then the third one is where the quote-unquote joke gets its punchline. Yan. Dito, yung quote-unquote the joke, which is yung MO nilang Lolo and the Kid, actually was parang 4 times, parang ganun.
Parang they could have done away with just...
There was one more instance na they could have removed. Kaso naisip ko bigla, looking back, parang bababa siya less than 1 in 30. Magiging less than 90 minutes siya.
Masyado na nga maiksi eh. Actually, for a movie this short, parang it's a little bit weird that I felt how long it was. Parang I felt bored na parang, when do we get to the good part? Parang ganon. Yun yung medyo naging slightly detrimental doon sa buong experience niya. Na it got a bit long in the tooth doon sa parang pagpakita sa atin na ito nga yung ginagawa ng lolo and ng bata. Parang by the third time, na sige, fine, meron dong consequences. May incident. That could have been the second repetition of the quote-unquote joke. We could have done away with one more. Yun. Or actually, sige, yun na lang. Baka no spoilers. Sige. Yun. I get what they was trying to say. Na parang sige, parang set up, introduce crumb 1, crumb 2, and then everything pays off on the final repetition of the joke. Pero, you could have included crumb 1 dun sa unang introduction nung MO. Kasi medyo parang humaba ng konti yung pakiramdam. Well, maybe they really wanted to showcase all those cameos. I guess. That's sweet Netflix money. True. Pero apart from that, that's my only gripe lang naman eh. Pero actually, nung dumating na tayo dun sa good part, dun na biglang naging intense na and mas nakuha na niya yung attention ko and yung emotion ko. Parang napaka-heart-wrenching naman. Exactly. Kaya nga, I am saying all of these things that I found to
to be quote-unquote detrimental to the film. Kasi, to its credit naman, when that last third finally kicks in, yung third act kumbaga, yung emotion derived from the proceedings.
The entire setup.
It just overshadows yung lahat ng mga nitpicks na meron ko. Na by the end of the film, parang nakalimutan ko kung ano yung mga, parang tagal naman ito. Kasi parang, when you get to that point, you'll know it when you watch it. It's worth it. Sobra. Talaga.
So, the end justifies the means?
I guess. Pwede. Sige. Kasi, hindi ko naman din sasabihin na perfect movie siya. Okay? Hindi ko din sasabihin na parang biglang, biglang, dahil dun sa ending, biglang, wow, this is a perfect. Hindi, yun na nga eh. There are things that could have been streamlined. There are characters that could have been excised completely.
Yes.
Kasi hindi sila kailangan talaga.
Agree. Completely.
Pero, yung heart nitong scene na to is beating so loudly that it makes you forget about those parang cinematic nitpicks you have.
Yeah. And it makes you forgive it.
Exactly.
Altogether.
Yeah. And would you agree that quote-unquote forgiveness is brought about by the extremely superb acting of the leads dito sa scene na to?
Oo. Ito talaga yung star ng movie. Yung acting nilang dalawa. Ibang klase. Actually, nilang tatlo. Iyon talaga, it all boiled down to the acting. The acting performances of Joel Torre, Ewan Micael, and Juan Carlos Labajo.
Nakakatawa kasi when we first knew about this film, na sinabi na agad na Juan Carlos is going to portray the older version of Ewan Micael's character. So, yung si Kid.
Yes.
So, parang naisip natin na parang, okay, sige, paano ito magiging ano? Pero, ako sa akin, kasi yung si Joel Torre, tsaka si Ewan, ano mo na yan eh? Well, at least for Joel, in Sir Joel's case, parang expected mo na, na he's gonna bring the goods.
Yes.
Okay? Etong si Juan Carlos, I haven't been exposed to his teleserye stuff, his work na ganon. So
except for one
yung
project.
film, yun nga. So yung teleserye niya kasi mga senior high, diba yung ganon? Hindi ko naman pinapanood yun eh.
Okay.
So wala akong alam dun sa acting niya dun sa ganon kung magaling ba siya o hindi. Ang basis ko lang is When This Is All Over.
Where he is the lead star.
He's the lead star. And that was a fantastic movie. Then, last year's Cinemalaya, 2023.
Yes.
Pero, hindi siya nabigyan ng opportunity to show range doon sa sine na yon.
True.
Primarily because of the writing. Na kasi, yun yung character niya talaga. He was supposed to be
the straight man,
the audience avatar.
Everybody else in that movie is playing off of him. Exactly. Dito, nakakatawa nga eh kasi parang alam mo yung nakita ko na kay Juan Carlos, Jason Segel ng Pinas. And then 5 minutes later, he proceeds to just give the most heart-wrenching performance. Grabe. As in, sobrang sandali lang ng ano niya, pero grabe yung tatak niya doon sa sine. Kung sa Cinemalaya lumabas to, best supporting actor siya.
Pwede. Although,
what?
Although, I'm happy na hindi ito lumabas ng Cinemalaya.
True.
Because, in all honesty, and I mean this with all my heart, ng positive, this is not a Cinemalaya film. Yan.
Well, unang-una, it's not independent. It is Netflix funded.
True, pero ibig sabihin ko is it's supposed to make us cry. Yon. Kasi, malihis lang ng konti. Yung Cinemalaya kasi, if it makes us cry, I also want to think why. Ito kasi, I just gave myself completely to the film making me cry. And that's no problem for me. I loved it for it. Yon. Pero yun nga, na kung gaano ka parang sinabi na, may short role lang siya doon. Sobrang short and impactful ng role ni Juan Carlos. Maliban nun kay JK, ikaw, what did you think about yung acting ni Joel Torre or ni Ewan Micael?
Well, it's true about what you said dun sa off-the-cuff acting nila. Kasi they appear sometimes, especially si Ewan, which I completely understand naman kasi, of course, bata pa siya and, alam mo yun, he's playing with the great Joel Torre. So, yes. I would understand if parang merong konting butterflies or may konting kaba. Pero, ayun nga, parang yung sabi mo na parang it feels improvised. Kasi may mga scenes na, especially yung bonding nilang maglolo, it feels like he does these small pauses na parang nag-iisip siya ng sasabihin niya. Which makes me think, parang sa Firefly naman and everything else we saw him in, and actually the rest of the movie, alam ko naman na parang iba yung performance niya iba yung presence niya kapag kabisado niya yung sasabihin niya.
Oo.
Versus yung kapag mag-iisip pa siya ng sasabihin niya.
Okay.
So, ayun lang naman. But this is not a knock on you, Wen. Kasi napakagaling nung bata.
Yes.
Pero this is like, siguro an issue with directing. Kasi maybe the director instructed them or parang directed them that way.
Yes.
To parang just do improvised bonding stuff ng maglolo, ganun. So parang medyo lang ako. It felt a little out of place.
Okay. Pero in terms of yung kay Joel Torre naman?
Kay Sir Joel Torre naman, parang ano na yan veteran na siya
Oo.
Kung tutuusin, parang anything you throw at him, he will elevate. Yes. And he will turn into gold. Ganon siya, may Midas touch siya. And yun nga, kahit na, I'm not saying this project, pero any film or any material given to him, magagawan niya ng paraan na pagandahin.
Yes.
And that's what he did with this character.
True.
It could have been one note and one-dimensional.
And the whole thing could have been schlocky and tropey.
And sappy. And emotionally manipulative. Pero dahil sa performance niya, he really gave it a different kind of authenticity and emotional gravitas. Na parang, you said something funny. Very true and very funny. Sabi mo na para siyang si Tom Hanks.
Para siyang si Tom Hanks.
Para siyang everybody's dad.
Kasi, di ba, yan. Tom Hanks is America's dad. So, itong si Sir Joel Torre, para siyang pambansang tatay. Yan.
And remember when we watched Under a Piaya Moon just a few weeks ago?
I love that film.
And we chanced upon him. Kasi kakatapos lang din ng screening na nandun siya.
Nanonood sila.
And ayun nga, after that, parang bigla tayong napakain sa JT's.
Yes. Hi. Galing nga, no? Yung marami ka na masasabi na parang legendary films, projects niya. And yet, para siyang hindi siya nauubusan ng legendary or classic projects up his sleeve. Dahil sa sobrang galing niya. I guess, that's as much as we can say without spoiling anything here.
True.
For the film kasi it's one of the top films right now on Netflix Philippines.
And for this, we're gonna be giving it a rating of B+. Yes. Yan.
So, still hearty recommendation nonetheless. Kasi, kami, we look at the film itself siguro from a lens na parang medyo critical ng konti. Pero, even we aren't immune to the charm and the emotion that this film brings. Kaya talagang sobrang you must see this.
Yeah.
On Netflix talaga.
It's one of the better offerings of Netflix right now.
That's right. Okay.
So yun, let's move on to our second movie for this episode, which is Unhappy for You. Chef Juancho reunites with ex-girlfriend Zai, visiting hometown. Initially seeking revenge against her engagement, he unexpectedly redevelops feelings.
Yeah.
Yan tayo
I wouldn't say rom-com, personally.
Well, it is packaged as a rom-com. It's marketed as a rom-com.
Drama.
Romance drama, maybe. Pero kasi, yung mga Josh Leah movies kasi from years ago were all rom-coms.
Rom-com sila. Okay.
Ayon, sige. You go first this time naman. Roy, what did you think of Unhappy for You?
Well, if you've been following our podcast and our social media presence for the previous few months, sabihin natin calendar year 2024, you'd know na we have been absolutely critical of the work that Julia Barreto and Joshua Garcia have done. Julia, of course, infamous for Ikaw Pa Rin Ang Pipiliin Ko, or in our parlance, Iprapke. Yes. Shout out to our Iprapke buddies. And Joshua Garcia was part of Fruitcake.
Yeah.
Although he gave a wonderful performance doon sa movie na yun, I would say. Kasi nakakatuwa siya eh. Actually, siya lang yung parang saving grace ng sine eh. Pero yun na nga, the movie around him just was crap. It's a stale fruitcake.
Yeah, let's not talk about
that. Yes. That's why I am very happy to say na nabawi ni Julia Barreto and ni Joshua Garcia yung kanilang losing streak, kumbaga. and were able to deliver fantastic performances in this film. I'm happy for you. And ako personally, it's one of my top 10 Filipino films this year.
Ooh,
Talaga.
really?
Because of how mature this film is. Now, if you, our fellow Cinegeeks, would remember yung isa sa mga una nating ni-review na scene nun, which is A Very Good Girl. Incidentally,
Also from...
directed, yes, by Peterson Vargas.
yes, yeah.
Also, worked on by a friend of the podcast, cinematographer Sir Noel Tihanki.
Shout out.
Shout out, Sir Noel. Sinabi natin doon na we were astonished by the effort to parang create something uniquely mature to the Philippine cinematic landscape.
With AVGG.
Yung, yes, Very Good Girl.
Mhm.
Pero, ang naging criticism, hindi nga siya nitpick eh. Ang naging criticism natin doon is it wasn't able to fully follow through on its promise of yung cynical and nihilistic na parang bentahin niya.
This is about the ending. No?
About the ending nung Very Good
Ending
Girl.
lang,
Oo,
actually.
yun. Ending lang. Kasi parang yun na nga eh. Parang na sana siya eh. Siya na yung exclamation point sana. Doon sa fantastic na movie na yun.
Baka merong may art house cut yun.
Sana. I hope. So what could have been a fantastic movie, yung AVGG, ended up being a great movie. Kasi hindi siya natapos ng, in our opinion, satisfactory. Dito naman, I think I can speak for us both when I say this. This movie stuck the landing. Mala Carlos Yulo yung bagsak niya. Talagang joint gold medal. Pak.
Yes.
Good job. Kasi nakakatuwa makakita ng mga gantong klaseng kwento na nagde-deal with these very grown up or parang growing up and then being grown up na mga kwento. Kasi usually pag sinabing romantic drama, romantic comedy na Pilipino, yung standard na mga pakyut-kyutan, BS, ganon.
Mga linyahan, mga hugutan.
Oo.
There was that parang phase during...
yeah.
I don't know if this is before pandemic or after pandemic na puro hugot movies.
I mean, ano siya eh, parang nag-iiba lang yung kanyang parang
packaging
or centerpiece. Yung the chewy center in the middle of this Tootsie Roll of rom-coms.
Pero it's the same candy.
Exactly.
All together, yeah.
This, if those movies were Tootsie Rolls, this is like a Ferrero Rocher of romantic dramatic films.
That's high praise.
Kasi andun pa rin yung andun pa rin yung tamis na hinahanap ng Filipino audiences.
Yeah, it has all those familiar beats.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can say that, yes.
But then it at every chance it gets, it just continues to subvert every expectation that the Filipino audience has.
Actually, nga no.
'Di ba?
Parang inaabangan ko nga yung ibang mga tropes and yung mga cliche na mga nilalagay usually sa mga ganitong eksena, sa mga ganitong characters. Although yes, it's the same animal, but it's a different beast.
True.
Sino ba nagsabi nun? Si Kobe ba?
Yung parang yung, are you the same animal but a different beast? Sabi ni Kanye, what the fuck are you talking about, Kobe Bryant? Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And anyway, sorry, masabi ko lang to para mabilis kasi I'm gonna ask you a question real quick. Yung, para siyang yung cinematic equivalent in the best possible way, nung may nauuso ngayon sa TikTok, yung si Unpredictable Rapper.
Wow, you watch TikTok? I'm quite surprised to hear that.
How do you do, fellow kids? Sup? Yo.
Wow.
Yun, para
TikTokerist ka na pala, ha?
Sige, fine. Nakita ko siya sa Facebook Reels. Kasi gaya siya sa TikTok. Kasi doon yung parang logo ni TikTok sa baba. Pero yung tawag dito, yung si Unpredictable Rapper. Diba, pinakita ko sa yung video ng ganun. Yung parang mag-rhyme siya dapat, tapos biglang iba yung word na sasabihin niya.
So, you mean to say parang John Ralphio
parang
sa
John
Parks
Ralphio.
and Rec?
Oo, parang ganun.
He never ends on the rhyme.
Hindi siya nag-end sa rhyme. Si John Ralphio. Ito talagang may rhyme. Natatapos yung kanyang bars doon sa rhyme dapat, pero iba yung word na sinasabi niya. So dito, ang nangyayari, you think that the setup is rom-com tropey, pero pagdating dun sa kanyang punchline, biglang boom, iba.
May mga misdirect, no? Very effective.
Effective misdirects, yes. Not all works, I'm gonna say. Not everything works. Pero in the grand scheme of things, it's one of, again, top 10 Filipino films ako for me. And I'm gonna ask you kasi this is a discussion that we had on the way home from watching this film. Kasi may sinabi ka na parang this reminded you of something na film.
Well, it reminded me of the movie The Breakup kay Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, okay.
Especially yung dynamic ng couple or the ex-couples na I think established naman dun sa logline na Julia and Josh in this movie are exes, di ba?
Okay.
So, parang ganon, yung passive-aggressive na will they, won't they, sexual tension, and nagbe-build up siya into an ending that, alam mo yon, napaka-decisive, ganon.
Yes.
Also, you also have a movie na parang this reminds you of.
In a way, siguro yung parang yung spirito ba ng sine, medyo may pagka 500 Days of Summer siya. Yung para siyang yung it's an unloved story. Yon, or not a love story. Not a love story. Yon. Ang ganda niya kasi, yun na nga it twists your preconceived notions of what a rom-com should be. And then yung kanyang subversions aren't just subversions para lang masabi na, gumawa kami ng something different. Hindi. And there is this one parang exclamation point moment in this film. Talagang, I attribute this to, siguro, to Kukay Labayan and her writing team, as well as yun sa excellent na visuals of that scene kay Sir Noel and his team, na akala mo, parang yun na yun. Usually sa mga drama na Pinoy. And then it does something so different, does something so mature with its direction na talagang, nung nangyari yun, hindi ko mapigilan na talagang mapapalakpak na lang bigla.
Oh yes, I know that scene that you were talking about, and ang ganda nga nung pagkaka-frame nung scene na yun to really subvert you and surprise you actually. And what I also loved here, yung in terms of yung framing device niya, is yung how they really showcased Naga and the entire Bicol region na sobrang vibrant, sobrang ganda, sobrang colorful, and sobrang full of life, and sobrang spicy. I love that they also featured the food. Syempre, kudos to the cinematography for the many vistas, the many long shots, and yung mga drone shots. Na-amaze ako dun sa na yon, sa mga oneers.
Actually, nakakatuwa kasi usually kapag nakikita mo may nag-drone shot ng ganyan, parang alam mo yung nagpapakitang gilas lang. Pero ito, sige, sabihin na meron ganun, pero it works. And then they're showing off and then proving to everybody that you're great at it. So yung ganung mga yung mga ganung drone shots na sinasabi mo, and even even din dun sa visual storytelling din nung sine, na there are choices made in terms of lighting, in terms of the elements you see on screen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're not gonna get into detail, pero ang daming mga maliliit na bagay na kung hindi ka nakatingin ng maigi, dahil nga rom-com to, ang usual na parang mindset ng tao is kikiligin lang ako. Pero for those more discerning in terms of how yung watching a movie, yung total package, this is almost a complete feast, kumbaga. Kasi sobrang pag nakita mo yung gano'n, okay. Yung sasabi kong yun. And then at the later point in the film, it becomes another element. Biglang, okay, ang ganda nung mirror. Yun, kumbaga.
I'm glad that you mentioned the lighting kasi una, parang medyo napansin ko nga na parang nag-iiba yung lighting. Parang there is this parang hazy mood setting na lighting na seems different from the rest of the film. And nung napag-isip-isip ko, parang siguro this is parang a glimpse in the minds of our characters na parang they're looking at their memories and they're looking at each other through rose-colored glasses talaga.
Yung mga ganun,
Talagang they really parang romanticize the drama and the passion.
Kasi
they're not seeing it clearly, ganon.
Yeah. Sorry. Kasi, kumbaga, pag pinapakita sa atin yung mga memories nila towards the beginning of the film, yun na nga, meron siyang parang almost theatrical na pagkaka-frame, pagkaka-stage, pagkaka-light, na sobrang talagang boom, spotlight, ganon. And then later on, the same scenes are almost parang shown again, pero this time, sabi mo na parang iba yung lighting, iba yung angulo, kahit yung camera, nag-iiba, yung hindi na siya yung setup na talagang nakapirme, nagiging steadicam siya, handheld bigla, yung ganon. Na ang ganda kasi, hindi lang yung script yung gumagana in telling the story. Even what you see. And that's what cinema is supposed to be. It's not just parang dula-dula. Kasi kung script lang siya, manood na lang tayo ng teatro. Diba? Pero
or if story lang siya, magbasa ka na lang ng libro, diba?
Basahin mo na lang to. Short story to eh. Pwede, ganun. Pero dahil itong mga people involved, I would say, in Philippine cinema are some of the best in their field. Makikita mo talaga na it's a well-oiled machine. Parang working at the height of its powers. It's not just great writing. It's not just great acting. But it's also the great visuals at play as well. Eto, sige, parang one last na lang natin. Kasi pag anything else after this question, baka maging spoilerish pa. Okay? Of course, romantic drama, rom-com, whatever. Meron yan laging yung balagtasan, kumbaga. Sabi natin ganun. Kaninong moment of balagtasan yung mas tumatak sa'yo para dito? Si kay Joshua or yung kay Julia?
Para sa akin yung kay Julia. Well, not just because it's the female perspective, pero kasi parang it completes the entire image, yung side niya. Kasi from the very beginning of the movie, when we were introduced to these characters, we only ever saw Joshua's side of things. Yes. And towards the midway point, dun pa lang natin nalaman na kung ano yung side ni Julia, the untold story or the truth in her mind, 'di ba? And it completes the entire scenario. Kasi parang yun nga we are biased on our own experience. Biased tayo sa memories natin. Even our memories are unreliable sometimes, especially at the height of our emotions. Kaya ganun yung kinukwento ni Joshua or yung character ni Joshua sa audience, 'di ba? Pero ayun nga, nag-change bigla or nabuo yung kwento dun sa part ni Julia na yon, yung kanyang very impassioned speech.
True.
Ikaw.
Actually, I have to agree with you. And not just for the reason na sinabi mo na it completes the story, although I agree, yes, that it does. Gives us the entire picture. Kumbaga. Pero yung for the entirety of the film, and again, this goes back to great writing, we were made to really be firmly behind Joshua's character, yung si Juancho. And this girl, si Zai, is portrayed to be a complete B. Pero it's that speech that she has in the third act na talagang, alam mo yung, if you've ever been in a relationship, any kind of relationship na may partner ka, romantic relationship, makaka-relate ka doon either as the recipient of that speech or as the one giving that speech. Kasi it's one of those speeches na is very uncomfortable to either hear or give. Kasi it's a truth bomb, for the lack of a better term. And sige, this is my, I would guess, parang short-sightedness coming into play. Pero I didn't think that Julia had it in her to give a performance like this.
Well, pero, fresh off of her last project na talagang sobrang panned natin.
Pero kasi hindi naman ako nanonood ng mga ano niya dati, yung work niya before.
Well, she's still a Barreto.
I know, of course. Oo, pero parang it's heartening to see na an actress so deeply entrenched in the rom-com system of this country give a performance that just parang goes above and beyond what is expected of her. And that yung kanyang balagtasan moment doon sa third act is galing. Sobrang galing.
Actually, parang na-embody niya nga yung tita niya. Parang si Claudine in her best dramatic roles And this is reminiscent of the 90s romantic dramas
Nakakatawa nga kasi ako usually sa YouTube, may mga pinapanood ako yung mga lumang commercial, yung mga ganun. Tapos parang nakita ko, shucks, parang kamukha ni Joshua tsaka ni Julia, yung si Claudine tsaka si Rico yan noon.
Sa Flames the movie?
Yung mga ganun, parang mga ganun, sila yung pair na magkamukha. And speaking of Joshua, ito, yung nga, sa Fruitcake nga, we already saw that he had it in him to give a great performance. Pero it's heartening na heartening na may great script backing up his great performance. Hindi ko lang alam kung ako lang nakapansin nito. Pero parang may mga moments na nagtutunog siyang parang John Lloyd Cruz.
Kaboses niya nga din
Diba?
And not to mention, medyo kahawig niya.
And yung parang yung acting ng everyman boyish charm na
Boy Next Door,
Ganun, parang ganun parang siyang next John Lloyd
Every guy.
Oo. Kaya talaga, ako, I am critical of Filipino film kasi it's the one batch of films that I really, really want to succeed. And hindi ako magdadamot ng papuri kung alam kong deserve niya. And this film I mean, deserves the success that I know it's experiencing kasi sinabi na 20 million pesos on the first day.
And to be fair, nung nanood tayo sa Opus Mall,
Puno.
di ba? Oo.
Ito, kanina, tinitinan ko nga bago tayo nag-record na yung mga Sure Seats, SM, Light Mall. Nobody watches in Light Mall. Pero puno yung Light Mall for this. Di ba? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy for this. Sorry, ikaw.
Pero kasi, I wanna ask you this. Since you said na this is in your top movies, di ba? For this year.
For this year.
Pero pagdating sa romantic dramas, compare mo siya dun sa pinaka-best, pinaka-favorite mo, which is One More Chance. How does it fare against One More Chance?
It's like asking me kung sino dun sa mga pusa natin yung pinakamahal ko.
Wow.
One More Chance is legendary. Walang walang makaka-touch nung sining yun sa pedestal niya. Pero give it a few years, I believe na this film is going to be talked about in the same breath as One More Chance in the future. Yan, ikaw.
Siguro it can trim a little bit of fat pa sa akin. Kasi there was this one sequence na I think did not belong dun sa tone ng movie. Parang napaka-tonal whiplash niya. Coming from very heavy stuff to biglang dancing in the forest. Ganon.
Hindi kaya para siyang yun yung test audience prescribed kilig moment for the masa. Kasi parang ganun siya eh. Parang tama ka eh. Kasi nakita ko na the film could have survived without it or a version of it na hindi ganun ka downright cheesy. Pero yun na yung tingin ko din dun eh. Ikaw, sa palagay mo ganun pa siya. Na parang
well, naisip ko na lang siguro this is still Star Cinema production. So parang they need to have that kind of comedy na talagang punchline. Ahaha, let's laugh. Ganon. Pero ayun nga, I felt na it did not belong.
Yeah. Siguro, I guess that's the part of the film that for me, I guess, again, prevented it from reaching yung hallowed status eh. Na parang talagang up there. Hindi lang parang top 10, top 5 pa. Pero dahil dun sa parang okay. Old habits, Die Hard, sure.
Yeah, pero kasi yun nga eh, ang ganda na sana nung characterization nila from the get-go, simula sa umpisa, up until that point, parang bigla silang naging clownish. So parang that kinda took me out of it.
Pero to the credit of the film naman, parang after that sequence, bumalik tayo ulit dun sa seryosong matino.
Pero kasi, yung character involved in that quote-unquote clownish scene or sequence is telling a story of grief. It's a very heavy story that he's telling. Tapos parang
Played for laughs.
Oo, parang wala lang. Parang I wish na hindi na nangyari yun. I'm gonna erase that from my, from my head canon.
Tama naman. Ako din, agree din naman ako sa'yo. Yun nga. Pero ako sa akin kasi, the most important thing of a film, especially something attempting to be this mature, is its landing.
True.
Would you agree that it stuck the landing?
Oo. I was not expecting that, especially the needle drop. Kasi that song is very relevant. It's very significant in their story. Meta din, actually. It's very meta.
Tama.
I'm not gonna elaborate on it, pero I think fans of this former love team will know this song and will expect to hear it actually.
Yes. Hanggang na tayo. Baka may masabi pa tayong spoiler. What rating are we gonna give Unhappy for You?
Okay, please.
Okay. Sige. We're gonna be giving this a solid A. Yes, we really, really, really like this film. I loved it personally. Kasi nga, sobrang goes places where most rom-coms wouldn't even dare go, and it did. Stuck the landing beautifully.
I'm loving this trend nga na parang it subverts na all the cliches and the tropes. It's starting to be unpredictable na, no?
True. Oo. What Philippine cinema is growing up right before our eyes. Sarap. Yeah, I guess that's it for this episode. Talking about Lolo and the Kid and Unhappy for You. If you've seen any one or both of the films, please share with us what you thought about it. Again, we said our email earlier, cinegeekspod@gmail.com. We'll read your email on air. Also, comment it below on our Spotify episode page and on our social media accounts. And again, we'll let the world know of what you thought of our episode.
Don't forget to set your players to automatically download our new episodes so you don't miss out on our fun Cinegeek conversations. And while you're at it, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you had fun or learned something new during this episode.
As always, the studios and distributors of the films weren't given any creative control or editorial approval of this episode. They are hearing our review for the first time, same as you are.
For my co-host Troy, this has been Angela. Thank you for listening to the Cinegeeks podcast, where movies, TV, and all things geek collide.